Welcome, everyone. I'm Greg Schnell, the Canadian technician, here to host the Market Buzz. This show looks at weekly setups across the U.S. market. Using the tools available on StockCharts, we'll look for long time frame trades. Please subscribe to my articles and Twitter feed for intra-week updates. I try to post some stuff there just to say how things are going. And what we want to cover off today is checking the market heartbeat. We did a little bit of this on Friday, and obviously the market started to rally yesterday and looks like it's continuing today, so that's all good news. I want to just show you one of the ways I look through the NASDAQ 100, and then right now software and semis are some of the best stocks over the last month. So then we're going to show how to create a list of software industry stocks. And that means just go get them, make a chart list with that, right? And then we want to massage the list to bring out the best stocks that we want to find, and then discover new technologies. There's lots of good stuff out there that we've never heard of, but we want to find it when it's the front edge of the wedge, not the tail end of the wedge. And then I'm going to use an example of a company called ShotSpotter. Okay, let's move on because this is going to be a fun one. Okay, so first of all, I want to start over here. So the S&P 500 from January 14th to now is up roughly 7%. And with that move, we're trying to find stocks moving faster than that in general. And this is the S&P, and we could also just go grab the NASDAQ 100 and put it in there. So about the same, no big deal. But we've been consolidating here, and today we're actually breaking out a little bit higher on the NASDAQ. So that's good. Now we do have options expiration on Friday, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. So here's the NASDAQ, and it's only up 0.35. The Russell's up 0.21, and the Dow Jones is up better than double that. So I don't like it when the NASDAQ underperforms. I like it when the NASDAQ outperforms. So that's a bit of a short-term hurdle, but we're going to talk about the concept of how to get a good chart list going, and I'm going to make this extremely easy. So first of all, I have a chart list set up called the NASDAQ 100, and this is, you guessed it, 100 stocks that make up the NASDAQ 100, and those are very easy to do, and I can show you how to do that. It will be the same method that we do to go create this industry group. So here we go, and we look through these stocks, and airlines are up 13%. Well, this one airline is up 13%, so that's pretty good. One of the things that's interesting is biotechnology is broadly considered to be a great growth stock. Well, great growth stocks, they are, but it doesn't necessarily mean the big ones are the winners. And so in this case, only two, Insight Corp and Alexion Pharmaceuticals, are up more than the market at this point in time. So a little hard to kind of get excited about biotech. And I mean, these aren't ugly charts, but they aren't, here's Celgene went vertical all at once and then has just kind of wandered sideways. Vertex, big name, made new highs, now pulled back. Alexion, off a big move off the lows. Anyway, you get the idea. So we're rolling down here and we're just looking broadline retailers. Okay. Amazon's flat so far over a month. JD's up about equal with the market. Here's a couple of business service support services, and you can just quickly highlight these. Once they're in a chart list, you can look at them very quickly. So computer hardware, Western Digital's doing okay, but really you're buying an oversold bounce. Apple's trying to do the same thing, and don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with Apple Computer or Apple Corp with a couple $100 billion in cash and all that kind of stuff. Here's Seagate moving at double the market, breaking out of a base, nothing wrong with that. But we're looking for industry groups that are doing well. And here's all the internet stocks. And what's interesting here is 5% underperforming, flat. Facebook is actually outperforming. Google underperforming. Electronic Arts, and this is, careful what you wish for. This one was down, 50% in 6 months, and now it's started to bounce. So it might be time to buy that stock, but I'm just saying as a group, the internet stocks aren't doing so great out of this leadership. And here's Activision, and it's the other way, and Take-Two, down hard. So if you're into the, I'll call it gaming software, one is a winner and two are losers. So not really supported there. Medical supplies, we can go through these, but there's some good ones in here. The point I want to make is here's all of a sudden we get to semiconductors, and look at some of these percentages. Xilinx. So everybody's talking about Starbucks. It's up 10%, which is pretty much what the market's up. So no real outperformance, and I get it. It's breaking out to new highs. But looking at these other ones, so here's the semiconductors, and it's nice to see the semiconductors lead because typically they're one of the key groups to tell us what's, when the market's starting to get bullish. And so after having a pretty tough year, this one's broke out from 250 to 280, and it really chopped all of last year. Xilinx is beautiful. I mean, it's just been flying. And if we go down and look at NVIDIA, it's been exactly the opposite. And so it's important to find what's working, not just what used to be working. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So Lam Research is up 25% after a huge sell down. Now, again, you can try to buy those bases. Nothing wrong with that. We just saw that on one of the previous charts there. But I want to show you that semiconductors and the software group are doing pretty good. And, this Workday is a really nice one. If you watch the golf at all, you've seen it on Phil's shirt and that kind of stuff. And the stock is doing well, no doubt about it. But it's up 11% and the market's up, 8%. So no big deal. And again, I've set this up at the top with looking at the market for 1 month. Anyway, so as we roll down here, here's some that are doing better than the industry or better than the overall market. And this Autodesk is breaking out to new highs as we talk. Symantec is breaking out to new 6-month highs. These are nice charts, and that's why I think we want to look into this group today. And the other thing we want to find is stuff that hasn't really started to explode higher yet. And Checkpoint, anyway. Okay, so here's PayPal, and I like the breakout, really nice, but it's only up 4.7%, and the overall market's up 8%. So it's hard to buy that kind of stuff when it's not really moving. Anyway, what we do is we go to the home page, and this is very, very simple stuff. We go to your dashboard, and from your dashboard, we're going to go down here, and we're just going to say new scan. And on this new scan, if I wanted to go get, I'm just going to delete everything that's here. And this new editor stuff, by the way, is fabulous because it'll help you make sure all your criteria is right. But ours is going to be so simple, it won't matter. If you wanted to make a chart list for the NASDAQ 100, you would just go down here and click Add and run that scan. And all of a sudden, it's going to create a scan results list here, and you would just save this as a new chart list. And I call mine NASDAQ 100 magically. So you can use that at any time to just go see what's going on in the NASDAQ. But that's not what we want to do today. We want to get down a little more specific. So we're going to delete that line. And we're just going to go down here and say US sectors. And, again, feel free to go find any one of these. But the one I particularly want is way down in the technology group, and it's called software. And so we're going to jump in and we're going to grab software. And we're going to add it. And we come up here and it says group is software. That's how complex this is. We say run scan. And go to our scan results tab. And now what we're going to do is store these results in a new chart list. So in this case, I'm going to call it, and I put all of my industry chart lists with 6010 at the beginning. I'm going to call it S for software, so it'll sort it according to name and software. Now, I'm going to call it software A, and there's a reason because I've already done this just to get everything else for today's show set up. Anyway, so we want to grab that. And now we'll go to this group, and what we'll see on here is I have software and software A. So anyway, I'm going to work in the software group here just because I've got it set up. Now, what we want to talk about is we know that the market's been on a roll for a month, so we want to find things that are outperforming. But the scooter ranking tells us some of the strongest stocks in this group. So it doesn't matter if they're in the NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500. It's just going to bring them all to this whole group up. And from here, we can just look down here and see the rates of change, or we could sort by the rate of change. Right now, it's sorted by strongest stock first, and there's lots of them here with a scooter ranking over 90%, which says they're the best stocks in the market. So they're outperforming their peers, and these are stunning numbers here. Let's not be foolish. This many stocks are outperforming. This group is awesome. There's great stuff going on here. So we can sort by percent change as well. And then if we look through the percent change list, we can just see some of these stocks are up 50% in a month. Now this is a $3 stock. Here we go. This stock is a $50 stock. And breaking out, so there's new software all the time, and these stocks are really starting to rock. So this is a good group just to go visit when you're trying to find new stocks to work for or work with. And down here, I was scrolling through the list, and well, before I do that, let's just talk about taking either the percent change stocks and just scrolling through them. Okay, I don't really want to play a 3-cent stock. And the other problem with this is, see how the change is 316%. So that changes this slider so that it makes everything else look very insignificant. So the one thing I want to do on this one is I want to go take that stock and I just want to delete it because it's a 3-cent stock. And if that's your game, go ahead and trade it. I'm looking for a different group. Okay, so we're going to go back to the view all, and we're just going to select summary. Okay, so now we're sorting here, and now this 100% stock is at the top, and it still makes everything else look insignificant. This is a 49-cent stock. So again, I'm doing it one at a time, but the idea behind this is to just show, go get rid of this junk and don't keep it. Not junk in terms of the company, junk in terms of the price of the stock. And if you're going to put, a larger weekly position on, this probably isn't the place you want to trade. Okay, so we go back into summary mode. And the point I want to make here is now we're starting to get better, and we could have set to get rid of all stocks under $1. We could have done anything like that on our scan. The purpose of the exercise here is to get the stocks into a list that we can work with. And so on here, I have put numbers in the front here, and I can sort based on that sorting order. So let's get rid of the numbers, and we can either sort by the percentage change or we could sort by the scooter ranking. And so in order to do that, we go into edit list. And again, this is something you can do every day. Just go in and delete the numbers. So you select all, and I want to get rid of these numbers at the front here, and remove numbers and just say okay. So that's gone. Now I want to go back into summary mode. And in summary mode, again, I get to control the sort order. So I can pick percent change, or I can pick percent change and then scooter ranking. So I'm going to select percent change, and I want it to be top down. And then I'm going to do the same thing with scooter ranking. So what this does, in the way I've just touched the buttons in this order, is if it has a scooter, this is the first thing. And if it doesn't have a scooter, it'll sort it by the most percent change. So as we scroll down the list, you can see we get to stocks that don't have a scooter ranking. But all of a sudden, all the best ones are up at the top, right? And again, these are penny stocks, but here's one that doesn't have a scooter ranking. It's a $50 stock. A lot of these, here's one at $5. Maybe it's worth looking at. And you can just go over and check the highlights. Now, these smaller stocks move fast, so nothing wrong with that. But again, the percentage change here is only, 8% or whatever. That's underperforming the overall market for the last month. Probably not where we're looking. So let's go up here to the scooter rankings and find some stuff that's working. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll right to the top here. And just looking here, these stocks have, strong scooter ranking. Oh, this is set up for intraday. That's the problem. Okay, let me change that to 1 per month. And then again, we'll do it based on the percent change sort order. And then we'll change the scooter ranking. And now as we scroll down, just jump down here to the bottom, and what we see is, lots of these stocks don't have a scooter ranking. And now here over the past month, maybe this one at $6.50 or whatever whatever works for you is fine. But we want to put these stocks in this order so now we can go start to look at the charts directly. And the way we do that is very simple. Okay, so let's make sure that we have our sort order right. And again, we could add other columns like whatever sector, but we know that all of the stocks are in sector and industry groups, so we can just turn those off. And now we've got the scooter rankings, and we've got the percent change indicator helping us with stuff that doesn't have a scooter. So I think this is a pretty good sort order. And what we do here is we literally just scroll to the bottom of the page and say number in sorted order. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to put the stocks in this order over here on the side, and we can either sit here and look at them on a little chart, or we can go into a specific stock. And this one broke out nicely, but we want to look at weekly charts on this particular StockCharts television show. So now I've set it up. This is my standard 5-year weekly chart. This stock's been climbing nicely, pulled back for 6 months, and is now breaking out to new highs. Anything wrong with that? Heck no, that looks beautiful. But we want to use the same chart style for all the stocks in this group. So we're going to hit apply style to all. And now every chart will have my weekly setting. If you wanted to, you'd just go click on it and make the first chart in the group whatever you like, and then hit that button at the bottom, and it would set everything up with 3-year, all-year indicators and make everything consistent. So look at how beautiful this chart is. This stock has just come down, touched zero, starting to take off to the upside. Again, its scooter ranking is 99.5. It's one of the top stocks in the market. And here we see it over $200, and it just keeps going. This is, very beautiful. Wasn't even on the NASDAQ 100 list. And yet here it is doing really well. We can view these one at a time. So we would just click through. We could use the chart book style, where you flip through one at a time. I particularly like the 10 per page. So on 10 per page, you can just scroll, and VMware breaking out to new highs. Nothing wrong with this. Here's Workday really soaring, doing very, very well. And again, these stocks have had nice runs. Nothing wrong with them. Feel free to invest in them. But here's one breaking out of a 3-year base. This looks really, really nice. I have no idea what they do, but it tells me that investors are willing to pay more than they ever have for the stock. Perhaps this is something to go check out. This software IPO'd 2 years ago, and it just keeps flying, broke out to new highs again. And again, you could just literally go over here, grab a new tab, and say Coupa software, and just start to find out what they actually do. It's a cloud platform, okay? Well, yeah, cloud stocks have been flying, so it probably tells us what we need to know. Okay, Viva Systems, beautiful uptrend on this stock. I mean, this is just a river to the sky. Really nice. Here's Rapid7 software. And again, I'm not trying to judge what they do. I'm judging the investor response to what they do. And all of these stocks are absolutely beautiful. This thing was $27 at the end of December. It's $47 now. It's up 100% or 70% in 2 months. So it's nothing wrong with that kind of rate of change. And, do we expect it to keep going? Well, probably not 60% every 3 months. But look at this nice climb out of the hole. And again, just breaking out to new highs at $40. It's trading at $45 now. IPO'd 3 or 4 years ago. Everything about it looks good. Bounced off zero. And, and doing a scan for software stocks with a PPO bouncing off zero or crossing well above zero. So the histogram goes positive while the PPO line is greater than zero. Very easy scans to run. Okay, here's Team, this Atlassian Corp. This stock's been doing really, really well, had a 2-week pullback and literally has been climbing ever since. PPO stays nice and positive. These are all really strong stocks. Here is eGain. Don't know what happened here, but obviously a huge gap down, and now we're going the other way, and the volume is really starting to like the story. another IPO stock here running. Okay, and here's Zscaler. Again, I don't know anything about these companies, but all of a sudden, just looking at the stocks, we've plotted them in order based on the scooter ranking. This is a mid-cap scooter, so it means it's not, the stock is between 2 billion and 10 billion. I'm pretty sure that's the level for mid cap. Anyway, with that, it's doing very, very well, just breaking out to new 52-week highs as we speak. It IPO'd a year ago. You know, they probably needed capital to invest to get their software going. Here we are. You get to participate if you like the stock and keep moving it up. And as long as it holds above its breakout level of, you know, call it $48, this stock looks pretty nice. Another one, Ceridian HCM Holdings, doing the same thing. These would never come to light till they become big, big names on CNBC, and yet here we are finding them. And here's Paycom. It's been a river to the skies, just keeps going. Benefit, this one's breaking out to new 5-year highs. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, something's starting to work in their software or their sales, and they're starting to make this go. So hopefully I'm giving you an idea of how things can go. And here's Twilio. We've been hearing about this one. So it broke out new 2-year highs, roughly July of last year. Hardly had a pullback in October and December. I mean, it gave up a couple of weeks of work, but that was about it, and just kept going. HubSpot, this one's been, you know, beautiful long trends. Splunk is just breaking out to new highs. And again, we're in one of the top percentage move businesses where really you don't have to add more people, but as you add customers, the profits really start to roll in. Now here's one, it's had a recent surge, so that's why the scooter ranking surged up, but it's still at, you know, stuck in this 3-year base. I would wait until it actually breaks out. Okay, so that's just an example of the list. I'm going to go up to the top here, and I'm just going to go back to summary mode. And in summary mode, again, we're allowed to see sort things any way we want. And here, let's just change it from intraday to 1 month or whatever. And all of these stocks plot on the list and just sort them by percentage. That's dollar change. This is percentage change. Okay, so we just want to go down. And you know, again, now instead of looking them based on scooter ranking, we're looking at what's starting to move fast. So really quick, we can go get rid of these numbers and keep this sort order. So how do we do that? We jump into edit list, scroll to the bottom, and on a Mac, it's function right arrow key. Anyway, select that, hit remove numbers from, and we're going to get rid of those numbers. Once we've got them in a chart list, we can play with them any way we want. Now, again, the reason we have to go back to summary mode is there's no way to sort based on what we want here. So we just click on summary mode. I want to sort it on percentage change and look at the strongest percent change stocks. And you know, perhaps these $1 stocks don't make your criteria. Well, then we'd go get rid of them. But I'm doing this more for the purpose of showing how to massage the chart list. So now we want a number in this sorted order. So again, just scroll to the bottom of the page and hit number in sorted order. And it's going to give us what's been strong in the last month. You know, maybe, okay, let's just go down. The first couple of columns here are all about, you know, penny stocks. And we start to get into something around 30 down. So we'll just go to the third page. Normally I would get rid of all of the low price stocks, but we're just going to go into the third page here. And now instead of looking based on what's been outperforming, you know, with a scooter ranking, this is going to bring stocks that probably don't have a scooter ranking. Again, still not really breaking out of the base here, so I'm not interested. This one's starting to look nice. Been working its way up, gently massaging sideways and starts to turn up. PPO right at 0. I mean, this is an interesting stock from a technical perspective. Price level might not be big enough. Momo's a very, very big name. Scooter is pretty weak, but the stock is starting to perform now. Full stochastic turning up at 50. This is very nice. Downtrend on the PPO is trying to break. I mean, we broke the 3-month downtrend. I'd like to see this longer one break. So that would be something I would look for. Anyway, as you see this going, whatever, you're going to find stocks that you've never heard of that are interesting. Okay, so from here, one of the ones that I uncovered this morning was a stock named ShotSpotter, and I'd never heard of it. And so, it shows up long on this list of recent changes. But the reason I want to show it to you is the stock is technically pretty interesting. It's come up and it's just sitting around zero. So I went and said, okay, what do they do? And what I found out was they use a sound technology to show they have microphones out in the neighborhoods, and the shot goes off, and they immediately tune the cameras to that point, like within seconds. And so then they have a picture of who shot, and they know how many shots went off. They know if it was automatic rounds or if it was just one at a time. And so all of this pretty interesting technology. Now, I don't really want to get hung up on the technology. I want to get hung up on when investors are interested in the technology. And that's how we're going to make more money. So anyway, I went through and just looked at some of their quick videos, and these are just, news items or whatever. So they found huge reductions in gun violence. And in Chicago, as an example, they've already dropped the murder rate down by 10% over the last 3 years. So from 2016 to 2018, in 2 years, they've dropped it down 10%, and they just keep rolling this out. Now, we realize that, Chicago had huge numbers, 700 people killed 2 years ago, and now it's already down to 650. So a dramatic improvement. And looking at this kind of technology, it's probably got stable cash flows because the police force needs it, and you pay, it sounds like you pay a fee, and then depending on the number of areas that you cover, you would do this. So I don't really want to get involved in the whole, hanging on every earnings announcement or anything like that. I just literally want to be invested in stuff that investors like. And this stock went from, IPO'd, call it $12, something like that, went to $66, pulled back to 25, and is trying to move higher again. I don't know if this is the right stock for you, but my point is, by just grabbing this industry chart list, setting up stuff, you're going to hear about stocks that have IPO'd recently. They aren't covered by the talking heads on all the business news channels yet. And all of these stocks have a story. Now, the real question is it something that investors want to buy? And I think you want to buy it, like as an example here, it broke out of this base, went sideways, and then took off to the upside. Pulled back hard. Now it's starting to try and climb out of here. And after a move from whatever, $12 to $60, so let's call it a 500% increase, it pulled back 50%, very common in big names. Microsoft did it, Amazon pulled back 90%. This is a big thing that happens. Anyway, from that, I'm hoping to show, I hope I've shown you how to go find nice stocks in an industry group. And the idea being that you can go find stocks that aren't in the news yet that are doing really, really well. So thanks for taking the time to join me on Market Buzz. Market Buzz airs live on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific on StockCharts TV. You can also catch replays on the StockCharts YouTube channel or on StockCharts TV, which has a running list of technical charting informational shows. Thank you.